Hey, Brian, it is so good to see you today. I move into the very of the that you get to work with today. You're in a super part of the process, and this part of the process is really and truly all about making sure that you have all of the right habits, desires, understanding, and wisdom in place to begin to plan with your team. All right. So if you followed all the steps, and I highly recommend that you follow all of the steps that we have highlighted for you in previous sessions of our program today, so that you understand how important it is to first build the right team before you begin to make serious plans on what you will do with that team. And there's a lot of reasons we're going to go into as to why you have to do it that way. Because if you make the mistake of trying to recruit the team to execute your plan, which is what we mostly do, right? We're not allowing our team to really, really come to their best information, their best ideas. And we're talking about, developing a team, a high trust, highly profitable, highly professional, highly productive team. I should make that a three-peat, right? Professional, productive, and profitable. right? If we're doing that really well, you're going to have people on your team who are experts at what they do. And they surely don't want to be dictated to in terms of how to do what's going next, even on your team. And so you want to give them that opportunity to express themselves fully. You want to appreciate what they bring to the table. You want to make sure that you are absolutely respectful of the talent and the expertise that they have shown already. And if you haven't done that, if you haven't followed the steps previous that we've talked about to now, and we're on step number 8 now, so there's 7 steps previous to that that you can find in the documents that I put in the chat on everywhere. So you can find it on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Facebook, the 9 steps to masterful professional relationship building, right? And you can find that. All you have to do is look, right? So that's all free. It's all given to you. But today we're talking about, and for the next couple of weeks, I realize we're going to have to talk about really, really building performance strategies and really building plans that you use with your team. I can't tell you how important it is to focus on this and do this exceptionally well. And make sure you pay attention to what we're going to share with you, the exercises we're going to share with you, the opportunities we're going to share with you, and just think through some of the things we have here. Now, I know we have people watching from all over the world, and whether you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, live, or you're watching it later on, these lessons are going to be available. So all you have to do, download the chat and make sure you follow in the chat in terms of what's going on. Okay, so let's talk about what's happening, and let's get right into it, because I want to make sure you get this stuff right away. Before we can talk about the 4 major concepts for high-powered teams in terms of planning to win, right? Which are belief, commitment, process, and mission in any level of detail. We got to talk about and set this for why it's even important to talk about this stuff. And so let's do that right now. And I'm going to tell you a real story that happened to a client of mine a couple of years back. And the names have been changed and everything has been changed in order to protect the innocent, right? But I want to make sure you know that, this stuff that is not from some mythical, magical information, right? Here's the story. Jill, successful entrepreneur, successful dentist, as a matter of fact, thought she had it all. And she knew she wanted to create for herself a great advisory council that had, the right attorneys and the right lawyers, right CPAs, the right kinds of professionals who were suppliers of hers, even some of her high level, more profitable clients. She wanted to add to the thing. And she knew she had gone through this painstaking process of interviewing each one, analyzing their character and their competency, making sure they had everything they needed to give a good fit to her organization. She also, went the route of making sure there wasn't a whole lot of overlap in talent, and that everybody on board was an expert in what they were an expert in, so she could have good diversity and adequacy of thought, opinion, background, everything she needed to really hit the ground running. But there was a problem. She thought that she was ready just because she had put the right team together. And there's so much more to planning. There's so much more to creating a strategy than just putting the right team on the field, right? If you think about what you're doing sort of a football or baseball or even a soccer analogy, you can have a ton of rock stars working with you. And it's not going to matter if they don't feel like they are good at working together, if they don't feel like they understand each other or will enjoy the process, if they don't feel that camaraderie and that esprit de corps that many times we talk about in many organizations, then you're going to have a situation where they're just not going to give their best. They're just not going to think about this in the right way. So today I want to talk to you about some concepts, some pre-concepts before we get into the details. We'll get into that in later weeks. But today I want to talk to you about what the ancient wisdom has to reveal to us in terms of the Bible. And I want to talk to you about today's neuroscience, and what that reveals to us in terms of bringing together the teams and planning together, and how important it is to focus on that and function around that. So first, I'm going to get into what the Bible says. Now, when I tell you about what the Bible says, I'm not trying to recruit you. I'm not trying to flip you. I'm not trying to turn your mind around or anything else. But I do want to give you food for thought, because ancient writers have been thinking about what you need to do so many business processes and so many life processes. And I like to use the Bible as a backdrop. Like my pastor says, if you read the Bible every day, it'll make you a better Christian, right? So I do make that read the Bible every day. And I'm hoping to be a better Christian. And I'm not suggesting that you have to be a Christian, but I am suggesting that might be some wisdom there that you might want to learn from. And I'm going to share some of that with you. I'm not going to share chapter and verse with you, because if you want to read that, you can read that in the document that I put in the chat. But one of the first lessons the Bible tells us about planning is to take your time. Be careful and take your time. Don't be in a rush during the planning phase. Take some breaths, take some breaks, take your time. Make sure I would say, spend more time planning than you're going to have to spend in execution. Because if you spend more time planning, then you're going to, and you have a wonderful team that you already put together, high-powered experts, you've already put together high-trust relationships, you've already developed one with another, then you're going to want to make sure that you've heard from everybody, you've gotten everybody's perspective, that you've taken your time to really, really give everybody a chance to flesh out the details. We're going to give you some exercises on how to do that really, really well a little later on. But I want you to think about that. No matter what you do, it's important to take your time when it comes to planning and getting the strategy together, making sure that everybody's shooting from the same page. The next thing you want to do is you want to be able to make sure that you have the right foundational commitments. Now, what do I mean by that? You're going to be asking people to make a commitment. You're going to ask them to make a commitment of their time. You're going to ask them to make a commitment of their resources. You're going to ask them to make a commitment of their treasure, maybe even money, right? So you might be talking to investors. You might be talking to people who can help you with marketing or strategy. You might be talking to people from all walks of life, that really help you accomplish the vision, hopefully, that you come up with collectively, right? So you're going to want people to make a commitment, and you're going to want them to know that that commitment is going to have the right resources and the rhythm that needs to happen. What do I mean by rhythm? You want to commit to a pace of how you are going to make sure that you do the things that you need to do. And that pace in and of itself is going to create so many more opportunities for you to work through the things you have to work through, the people you have to work with, and all of the situations that you might find yourself in. So make sure you have foundational commitments, make sure that you have, and you take your time. The next thing you want to do is, and this again is in the Bible, is understand the principles that guide whatever you do. Because there are principles in every situation that you must understand. You cannot break the rules, especially the rules you don't even know. You might be able to bend the rules, but if you break the rules, there's going to be consequences, right? So if you break the principle, if you go against the principle, the underlying foundational principle of whatever it is you're doing, you're going to have to deal with consequences. And those consequences may be worth it for you, but most likely they're not. And so even if you are going to stand against the principle or somehow, some way, or work against a principle in your planning process, then you want to acknowledge that and make sure that everybody on the team understands that, what, you guys are going to try something new. You're going to go out there on the vanguard and do something that's unprecedented, hasn't been heard before. And there may be some consequences that everybody's going to have to pay. So you have to be very careful and transparent about how you do that, if you're going to do that. I don't suggest you do it, especially starting off, unless you work with this team before and you guys have come up with some winning ways that the rest of us don't know about, right? It hasn't been in the recorded history of it. Then I promise you, those consequences might be a little heavier than you want to admit or often or profit for yourself. The next thing you want to do is you're going to want to seek alignment. And what I mean by that, I mean seek alignment with the people and the talent and the gifts that they have. Seek alignment with the mission that you have, the goals that you have, the daily or regular routine that you have, the vision that you have. You know, I always think, you know, when I originally wrote the Vision Quest 90 planning process, there's 5 key elements to that process. And I always tell people that you need to align all those key elements in your strategy, whatever strategy or plan you have, right? Your vision, your mission, your goals, the people that you're going to be working with and through, and the day-to-day, week to week schedule, whatever the process is, whatever the systems are, whatever the tools that you're going to need are, you have to be all in total alignment. And that has to show up in your plan. You know, all the resources have to show up in your plan. Everything has to know. So let me repeat. These are stuff, just lessons from the Bible. The Bible says in planning, take your time with your team. Make sure you're making foundational commitments with everybody. Make sure you have your resources all laid out and all of your information all there for everybody to see and understand. Make sure you're standing on principle. Make sure you're seeking alignment. If you do those things, it's ancient wisdom, right? If you do those things, you're going to be good. But even more important than that ancient wisdom, let's talk about the current research. The current research shows you that there's deep science behind how people work together and how that affects their brains and how that affects what their brains are going to do. I love this quote, and I'm going to share it with you from Stanford researchers. And they said, they've identified the specific neural mechanisms and brain activity required to plan and execute the navigation of daily life. This discovery is a breakthrough in cognitive neuroscience. These findings also serve as a practical reminder for how planning and visualization of future destination as a physical location or station in life can create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Let me repeat. Planning and visualization of future destination is actual physical location or a station in life can create a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what does that mean? That means the clearer your vision is of the destination that you intend to be in, that you intend to go in, the more it seems like the universe and everything around you is conspiring to pull that reality into you, into the actual being, actual physical being. So if you're thinking about it, and I always give people this question to ask themselves, if you're thinking about something in your future, ask yourself these 3 questions. What am I going to be able to be, do, and have once I arrive at this location, this destination, right? This physical location, whatever it is. And there's going to be some tangible things that you're thinking about, right? I'm going to be, do, and have something. I'm going to be someone or something that I'm not or can't have right now. And the more you focus on that, the more energy kind of comes from around you, from other people, and just seems like from the universe itself, that conspires to bring that prophecy, that destiny, that destination into fulfillment of your reality. So it's super important that you learn and you teach your team and you learn with your team how to build mental maps toward your future destination, right? You got to think it through. You got to visualize together. What is it going to be like when we've gotten to this place? What's it going to feel like when we've gotten to this place? What are we going to be able to do? What are we going to be able to have? Who will we be when we arrive at this destination? Think about it, articulate it, talk about it, question it, share resources about it, write it down as a truth. I like to write those things down as affirmations. I will achieve this. I will be this. I will have these things. I will, participate in this way. I will enjoy the fruits of these principles. I write those affirmations down for myself and my team. And my team gets together and they kick in and what affirmations we have to think about in order to make those things reality. But then we have what we need to have our brains begin to function neurologically and correctly to get to where we want to go. It helps us do two things: increase your focus and reduce stress. Let me repeat. When you can visualize when the team can visualize the destination that you're trying to reach, right? And you must do this together as an exercise. You increase your collective focus, you reduce your collective stress as you begin to plan, as you begin to execute, as you begin to move further and further toward, and the whole universe conspires to come together to share with you ideas and things that you wouldn't think of for yourself, things that you wouldn't understand or know or even believe for yourself becomes real. What's happening is your prefrontal cortex and your hippocampus, not to get into any detail, really are starting to work in tandem. And that's happening collectively with you, your friends, your associates, and everybody you talk to about your vision. All of a sudden, they're starting to think about things and think about ways they can help, think about ways they can assist, think about skills they have to bring to the table, think about what they can do to manifest this vision of yours and bring it into fulfillment, right? So it's super, super important that you think about those things. Now, I'm going to go on, I'm going to share with you some other research that shares two key problems that are associated with your brain activity, and then 3 simple brain productivity hacks. All right. So the first problem is understanding, one, that our daily life right now is more toxic than it has ever been in the time of human history. We have all been exhausted with the stress of daily life. We're overwhelmed. We have to make tons of decisions. We have to block distractions. We have to control our emotions all the time, every day, under tremendous outside influence and pressure. When this happens over and over and over and over and over and over again, we have to make decisions. We have to block distractions. We have to, control our emotions, make decisions, block distractions, control our emotions all day, every day, even on the weekends, even during vacation. This is happening, and our brain is not used to it. Our brain is not hardwired for the kind of rigorous activities that modern daily life is now placing on us, more so every day, over and over and over again. So what happens is we get burnt out. And when we get burnt out, we begin to enter into anxiety, we begin to enter into depression, and finally death, right? But before all that happens is our executive function or processes start to decline and deteriorate dramatically, meaning our ability to think about what we're doing and think about how we're doing it, begins to be overstressed, and we start to make bad decisions, right? So that's a thing. It's a really real situation. It's a simple problem that's associated with our society today. Second problem is just understanding of work-life balance. This understanding that we could balance, things in an appropriate way is almost irrelevant to think about, because I've already told you, we're asking our brain already to do more than it has the capacity to do, right? And so balancing it all is impossible because it's just too much, right? Work has changed dramatically, over the past, and we are experiencing so many things that are attacking our wellness and our ability to be well in every situation. And again, we're welcoming in anxiety, depression, isolation, and loneliness in record numbers, specifically in the UK and in the US. right? The science is in already. The studies are in already. You want to read about all the details about that. You can check it. You can check the links out that I shared with you already, because I've got the information embedded in that. So you can just click on that stuff and move through. But it's so important that we pay attention to these details and don't allow ourselves to get hijacked. And how do we do it? How do we fix it? How do we work within these systems? How do we fix it? There's a couple of tricks I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you 3 simple hacks. The first hack is to prioritize. Really think about the things that you must do today versus the things that you should do today, or the things that you would like to do today, right? I have these 3 categories and I put them in my planner every day. There's the things that I must do, have to do today, because it's imperative that I do it. For whatever reasons, it's imperative that I do it. It's imperative that it gets done today. It must get done today. And those are the things. Those are my A category things. And then I have a list. On my list, I have my B category things. These are things that I should do. It's important that I do them. I should do them, but I don't have to. Then I don't have to. It's not going to be a life-threatening incident, or not going to be something that is going to, cause me major drama or trauma if I don't get that thing done. It's just something I know I should do. It's the right thing to do, but it ain't going to kill me if I don't, right? That's B. And then there's things I like to do. These are the things that, I really would like to do. And I'm not obligated, but it will fulfill me. It will make me feel good about myself. It will help me, these are things I like to do. This is a priority. This is prioritization, right? And then there's A1, A2, A3, A5, on the list. Then there's B1, B2, B3, B7 on the list, right? And the same thing for the C's. Now, once I've got that prioritized list, I'd automatically feel in control, because I've started to prioritize my list. Even though I know I can't necessarily get everything done on my list, I have a list, and it's beginning to give me the feeling of control. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put first things first, right? I'm going to now take my A priorities, try to get them done as early in the day as is possible. It might not be possible for me to get that A priority done, because the A priority might be an appointment that hasn't come up yet, or it might be something that I can't do before a certain time, right? So make sure every A priority you can get done. As soon as you can get it done, you get it done. Here's what's going to happen when you do that. And it happens to me all the time. I start to feel really good. Not only am I in control, I know what's going on. I see my day in front of me. I'm about it. I'm pressing on. I'm moving forward. I'm getting things done. Now I know what happens. It happens to me, happens to you. Throughout the day, you're going to get some distractions. You're going to get some things that come at you that are priorities that you didn't necessarily create. You didn't necessarily understand were priorities, but all of a sudden they fell in your lap. You got that email, you got that phone call, you got that text message, and reminded you that, oh, wait a minute, this is due right now. I'm not suggesting just because you have your list and your prioritization that you destroy, your whole life to try to, to get the things done on your list. Because if a priority that shows up from nowhere is more important than the things you've already organized, and you got to get that done. So, write that on your list as well, and add it to the list of your prioritization. Maybe it becomes an A1 sub A category, or A1 sub B category. It may be as you come up, because your list is not finished just because you did it in the morning or the night before, which is even better. But just think that, the daily list is a way for you to keep control of things. It's a way for you to do priorities, and helps you reduce overload and increases your ability to make functioning decisions, right? It helps your executive function to go better. Next exercise I want to teach you, this one I love. Do some regular deep breathing exercises. After I do my list, I sit with it, I think about it, I meditate on it, and I breathe. because I'm automatically reducing the stress. I know what I need to do. I'm getting myself ready. I take a nice deep breath. I'm in through the nose, out through the mouth. Hold it for a few seconds, and then just slowly get control of your parasympathetic nervous system. Right? I can't believe I even remembered to say that. And sometimes in the middle of a highly stressful event, I may do what's called cooling breaths. And cooling breaths is when you purse your lips like this, like you can whistle. But instead of blowing out, you breathe in. Now, what happens is you're starting to feel the back of your brain, the back of your neck, the back of your throat, all the way into your lungs. You're going to feel cool air going in there, right? And that's going to immediately give your system some level of calm and some level of reconnecting and grounding yourself. Sometimes grounding yourself is even important too, but that's a whole different world. I'm not going to get into meditation and all that kind of stuff, but it's important to be able to do those things. The next thing I want to share with you is how to automate those small decisions. Like, there are things that you have to do every day. These things that you think about it. If things that show up on your task list every day, they're the same thing. These are part of your daily activities. These are the small decisions that you have to do every day. And I have a whole list, every day. They're right here in front of me. I write them down right here. I don't have to write them down every day because they're already written down on my little planner, right? So every day, things like read for an hour, work out, plan and record all my meals, have a 15-minute cleaning session in my office or anywhere in the house, take my vitamins, wake up at 4:30 in the morning, floss my teeth, tell my wife and daughter I love them, right? These are things that I do every day. And guess what? They're also written down in my habit tracker. And so I have a habit tracker that's also on my day. So what's on, instead of all these things on my task list every day, habit tracker is on my task list every day. And it's an A priority every day. Because I'm going to remember to go to my habit tracker and check off the things that I need to get done. That I floss my teeth this morning, that I get up early this morning, that I drink my water, that I work out, that I get my exercise. Did I do my praying? Did I read my books? That I do the things I needed to do every day. Get my mind right, get my heart right, get my soul right, get myself together so that I can approach my day with the best of me. Try to get done. And I be an army guy. I try to do more before 9 o'clock than most people do all day. You find that the rest of the day is all play. It's a lot of fun if you can get done your A task categories before a certain time. I play that game with myself every day. Can I do my A stuff before 9 o'clock? And then it's fun time, right? So everything else is. Then I'm gonna start to pick off some of my C category things because I'm like, hey, I'm ahead of the game. I'm going to do some of the stuff that I thought was fun or some of the stuff that I thought was really interesting. And I already thought about it, and I'm going to do it. Then the last thing I want to share with you is practice visualization. Really super important. If you're going to be visualizing with your team, you're visualizing even for yourself, do it regularly, do it every day. And I look at my list of things and it seems like, this is going to be a perfect day. I've already written it down. I already know what it's going to be like. I already felt it in my soul and my spirit of what it's going to feel like. And now I'm going to sit and just meditate and breathe and think about all the goals that I'm going to be able to accomplish today. How am I going to feel at the end of the day today after I've knocked out the things that I said I was going to do? I said it to myself, right? Now, that's just something that is here. I want you to really, really resonate with, and hope you do. If you set out and make goals, and you set out and you make plans about what and how you're going to function in your daily activity, what's going to happen in that situation is you're going to know, feel, and believe in yourself so much better. You're going to daily improve your integrity, because every time you write down something on your list and you knock it off, You're proving to yourself that you can do what you say that you want to do. And that's an empowering thing, that if you do this every day, imagine the resilience, imagine the strength of character, imagine the emotional connections you're going to make with yourself. It's going to help you stay mindful. It's going to help you stay grounded, and it's going to help you be more forward thinking in everything that you do. I realize now that I've been trying to do this on my phone, and I hope everybody can hear me. But I don't know, because I can't see what's going on in the regular stuff that I'm paying attention to. But I hope you all are just as excited about learning how to plan with your team, how to create masterful execution strategies, because we're going to talk about that more and more over the next couple of weeks. We've been at this now for about 35, 40 minutes. And I got to say, and I see Pamela's out there. Good to see you, Pamela. Thank you so very much. I'm glad you logged onto the show today. I hope you are having a good time. I hope you can get past my technical difficulties, because I'm trying to do that as well. But if there's any questions you have about planning and working with your team that I haven't already shared with you, feel free to ask questions, put them in the chat, put them in the links, give me an attaboy, a thumbs up, way to go, whatever. Today's show, and I'll let you guys do that while I'm talking. Today's show was brought to you by my fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, and my associates and my clients, who've all come together to help me fund this opportunity so that I can share this with everybody. It's my goal in my life to create, develop, help maintain as many small businesses as I possibly can. I'm a big believer in legacy and a big believer in sustainability in your activity. And the more you can do that, the better you can do that, the better you're going to have in terms of experience in everything that you do. I call myself the 9-step guru, Coach Powell of Coach Powell Training and Development. And this is some of the things that I'm just super passionate about, helping as many entrepreneurs and small businesses as I possibly can. And I want to show you, in case you want to get in contact with me, you have a question, anything you want to say, my information is scrolling across the screen right now. And so you should be able to get in contact with me. You should be able to find me in any given moment. And again, if there's any questions, any thoughts, any comments that you have or you want to share, feel free to do so in the chat, or feel free to ask the question. Feel free to text me or whatever with any information that you want to text me with, and I will respond. If you haven't seen the show before, again, it's going to be recorded and broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn Live, and it's also going to be recorded for on demand a later time. This is Coach Powell. I had a great time. I hope you did. I'm going to sign off because I got some things I need to get done today, and keep pushing, keep struggling, keep moving forward, and we'll see you next Friday. Next Friday, we'll get in further details about planning and developing your team. Talk to you soon. Bye, y'all.